Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and to make it a better place to live and work. Amen. And now for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go right over here, right next to that blue chair, because they're going to pass you a microphone.
Okay.
It's okay.
Roll call.
Got to go on the other side.
Over here?
No, there's no chair there.
Council Mercia.
Here.
Mayor Murphy. Council Nguyen.
Here.
Council Elliott.
Here.
Council Kennedy.
Here.
Council Leahy.
Here.
Council Laurie.
Here.
Council Martin.
Here.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Here.
8 present.
All right, first item on our agenda is city clerk's minutes of the city council meeting of March 12th and the public safety subcommittee meeting of March 12th for acceptance. Motion to accept by Councilor Mercier, seconded by Councilor Leahy. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion is carried. Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. I would ask for suspension of the rules to take something out of order.
That being number
Being number 10.
10, the school department MSBA request.
Yes, thank you.
Second by Councilor Mercier. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion's carried. So we're under the suspension of the rules to take up this item. In City Council, vote. Approving the statement of interest to be submitted by the Superintendent of Schools to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA. Be it voted by the City Council of the City of Lowell, having convened in an open meeting on Tuesday, March 26, 2013, the City Council of the City of Lowell, in accordance with its charter, bylaws, and ordinances, has voted to authorize the superintendent to submit to the Massachusetts School Building Authority the statement of interest form dated March 15, 2013, for Lowell High School, located at 15 Father Morissette Boulevard, which describes and explains the following deficiencies and the priority categories for which an application may be submitted to the Massachusetts School Building Authority in the future under Priority 5, replacement, renovation, or modernization of school facility systems such as roofs, windows, boilers, heating and ventilation systems, to increase energy conservation and decrease energy-related costs to a school facility pertaining to deficiencies in roofs and HVAC systems, as well as under Priority 7, replacement of or addition to obsolete buildings in order to provide for a full range of programs consistent with state and approved local requirements pertaining to the renovation of science, classroom, laboratory facilities, and hereby further specifically acknowledges that by submitting the statement of interest form, the Massachusetts School Building Authority in no way guarantees the acceptance or the approval of an application, the awarding of a grant, or any other funding commitment from the Massachusetts School Building Authority, or commits the city, town, regional school district to filing an application for funding with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. Second reading by title. In City Council, vote approving the statement of interest to be submitted by the Superintendent of Schools to the Massachusetts School Building Authority, MSBA. If we could have a motion. Motion by Counsel Leahy, seconded by Counsel Laurie. Any questions, discussion? We have Mr. Lang here from the school department. I don't know if you want to make any comments at this time. No?
Roll call.
Okay. Roll call.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Counsel Nuwan.
Yes.
Counsel Elliott.
Yes.
Counsel Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy.
Yes.
Counsel Laurie.
Yes.
Counsel Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Mr. Chairman,
Counsel Kennedy.
under suspension of the rules, I was wondering if we could just take a minute to discuss some pending legislation that'll be coming up next week.
We suspended the rules for the MSBA. I mean, we can suspend it again if you wish.
If there's no objection.
Or
I'd like-
pending litigation, second, not pending, pending legislation.
Just, are we good?
Just second, seconded by Counsel Leahy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, we're suspended the rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just quickly, it's been brought to my attention by a couple of members of the state delegation to the State House that there'll be a hearing on April 3rd regarding the expansion of the License Commission from 3 to 5 members, which is a home rule petition, and I would just ask that the mayor's office, in conjunction with probably the law office, send a letter for that hearing on April 3rd in support of the legislation.
All right, so we've already had a vote in support of that, so I'm sure we
Yes.
could put together such a letter with the help of the city solicitor.
Well, I guess I'm thinking of who's going to write the letter. That's really why I involved the law department, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that's fine. So the law department will write the letter and sent on behalf of the city council. All right, is that it?
Prior to April 3rd. So the hearing's on April 3rd.
Very good. Okay, Counsel Laurie?
Under the suspension of the rules, could we take item 22 out of order?
All right, so motion to suspend the rules in order to take item 22 out of order, seconded by Counsel Noon. All those in favor of taking up item 22 out of order signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion is carried.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Counsel Noon?
back to the legislations that pending that Councilor Kennedy brought up, can we have also the timing? Because I know that April 3rd, 2013, is there a timing for that hearing?
Counsel?
Are you asking if I know what time the hearing is going to be?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Thank you.
Okay, the city clerk informs me he received an email with the information that he'll forward to the council, if that will address your concern, Councilman.
Thank you.
Under suspension of the rules for item 22, a motion by Council Laurie, request City Council adopt resolution relating to supporting the rights of workers to organize and bargain collectively, seconded by Councilor Mercier. Council Laurie.
Thank you. I know there's a few people that came tonight to speak. I don't know if they're registered with the clerk in time.
I have 4 registered counsel.
Thank you. I'd give my time to them. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
Peter Mania. Darlene Botello. Jackie Wangatusi. Dawn Macaria.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Don Macharia. I live in Dingsboro, 2 Longfellow Lane, Dingsboro. I work for Alternative Support ASI, and I'm here to support mental health on their quest to get a union. We just got a union a few months ago. We just negotiated our contract, and the one thing that most workers want, even the mental health workers, is just a chance to sit right next to the owners or the people who are running the company and negotiate terms of the working experience. Because most people just show up, they don't know the managers, they don't know the bosses, they work and they just go home. It's just for the paycheck. But most workers want to see the bosses and talk to them about their working conditions and negotiate just the basic rights, dignity, respect, and a little bit of money too. But money is at the bottom of it. We just want respect and dignity from our bosses, and if we are stable at our environment as workers, then we take care of our developmental people with developmental disabilities. And if we are stable at our environment and we are treated with respect and dignity, then we can be able to take care of these guys well. Because when you see most of us out there in the environment and with these guys, we are treating them good, we are taking care of them, it's the most difficult thing you can do for taking care of somebody else. So we just need the basic dignity and respect so that we can be able to reciprocate the same thing to the people with developmental disabilities, because it was not their choice to be like that. They were born like that, and we enjoy taking care of them. But we just want to be treated with respect and dignity and just a little bit of money, because gas is going up every day, at least 50 cents, 10 cents, just to keep up with the life. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Steve Looney. I've been with MHA for about 8 years. I started there after I retired from the VA.
Could you also give us your address, please?
Pardon me?
Your name and address, please. Your address.
I can't hear you. Name and address. Oh, my name and address? Stephen Looney, 2100 Skyline Drive, Unit 6, in Lowell, Mass. So when I started, we were getting 40 cents a mile. And as everybody knows, gas mileage, the price of gas has gone tremendously up. So that's my main beef. It's, 40 cents a mile, for all these years. And I feel bad for the people that work full-time. I'm just a part-timer. But the people that work full-time, that's incredible that they get cheated like that. And it's also during the time when the person that runs MHA has gotten a big raise, and I think other staff members at MHA. So that's my main problem. I think we need a union because we're being treated unfairly. That's about it for me. Am I all set?
You're all set.
My name is Peter McKinnon. I live at 88 Humphrey Street here in Lowell. I'm also a social worker here in Lowell for the State Department of Children and Families. And I represent, and I'm the chapter president of the state social workers for Local 509. In my job here in Lowell as a social worker doing child protection work, we make referrals all the time to various community agencies, including those like MHA. And what we find is most important for those referrals and those services to work are in workplaces where there's stable working environments, where there's not a lot of staff turnover, where there are basic properties of the service provider that are there. It means better outcomes for kids. It means better outcomes for families. We tend to avoid making referrals to agencies that have high staff turnover, because if we make a referral for a family and that staff person that is working with this particular family leaves every 2 months, kids are put at risk. Families don't get what they need. I've also worked in the private sector for non-union shops and for union shops. And the benefits that come from a union, including the wages, the basic working environment, making sure that it's safe, especially in the human service field, which can be a dangerous field, comes in union shops. It leads to better staff retention, it leads to better outcomes for the clients that those staff are working with, and it's just better for the city. So I urge the council to vote in favor of this resolution.
Councilor Lowry? Oh, I have one more.
Hi, my name is Monty Mueller. I actually am an organizer for SEAU. I've talked to over half of the people that work at MHA.
We need your address.
183 Harvard Street, Cambridge. Sorry, I'm not a resident of Lowell. A lot of the issues mostly just come down to respect. People who work there feel like they've never been treated with the dignity and, the thanks that they deserve for doing one of the hardest jobs. And most people want to stay. There's so many statistics that show that clients with mental health or developmental disability issues have fewer outbreaks if the staff has been there for much longer. They become comfortable and very attached to the staff, but if the staff isn't being treated the way that they should be treated in a respectful manner and deserving, getting the raises that they deserve, then people can't stay. And when this high turnover happens, the clients have much more turnout. They have behavioral issues a lot more often. So it's really best for the staff and for the clients. I think the agency as a whole would really benefit from it, and well over half the agency agrees. So thank you so much for taking time to listen to us tonight.
Councilor Lowry?
Thank you. I brought this forward, with the SEIU, and it was just to support the rights of workers to organize and bargain collectively. We've seen here in the city over the past couple of years since I've come on, we're agreeing to and signing off on contracts that the city employees have made with no raises and things like that to try to help the city when times were tough. And, we just had the meeting with the auditor a short time ago with the CPA firm, and he talked about the financial state of the city. And one of the things he brought up was the negotiation between the administration and the unions on health care and the savings that it had brought forward. So, this city has done well, this administration has done well, and that's the reason why I agreed to bring the motion forward. Thank you.
Councilor Mercier?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. If there's no more discussion and this particular issue has ended, I would like to move to suspend the rules as well on another issue. Our chief, Ken LaValle, is here.
Okay, let's just finish up this item. Anyone else on the motion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And now Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. We have with us this evening the Superintendent of Police, Kenneth LaValle, who is going to be retiring at the end of March. And I know that he wants to address this council, and I don't want to burden him any longer and have him stay to the very end, which perhaps tonight might be 10 o'clock. So I think we'd like to suspend the rules and allow him to address the council.
We have a motion to suspend the rules by Councilor Mercier in order that Chief LaValle may address the council regarding his retirement and that there can be any other comments regarding his retirement. Seconded by Councilor Lowry. All those in favor of suspending rules signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Chief?
Thank you. I'm a little disappointed. I saw the cameraman up there with the long-range lens, and as soon as you mentioned my name, he took off, and I thought he was here for me. But in any event, I came here tonight because I just wanted to say two simple words to the members of the council, and those two words are thank you. You have supported me and the Lowell Police Department for the past 6+ years. and I can't say enough about what you've done for the police department, for me personally, for the city of Lowell. I really owe you all a debt of gratitude. It has been a pleasure to work with all of you. It has been really my honor to come before you on many occasions and speak to you on many issues. I hope that I have done for you what you expected I would do. I thank all of you, everybody in this room, from the city manager and his associates, and all the city councilors and legal staff and Cheryl Wright. You all should be proud of the work you do. You do a tremendous job for this city. And I think, speaking from my perspective, you should continue to hold the police department's feet to the fire. I think you should continue to demand things from the police department. The motions you make, the suggestions you make, the recommendations you make are excellent and necessary. Public safety meetings are so critical, and when you put us in the spotlight and you ask us to do certain things, there's certainly, I believe, in the police department an exigency, a feeling amongst the command staff that the city council, the manager, the mayor want certain things done, and we want to get those things for you. So all of you have made motions over the years. You know, I think of the gun buyback program Councilor Elliott proposed, and the self-defense program that we have from Councilor Laurie, and then of course we have Councilor Nude made a motion on the after-school program, the PAL program, what we've implemented now with the Boys and Girls Club. So many things, all of you have just been wonderful. So I just wanted to say thank you. I'm not here to really listen to any of you talk about me. I just want you to know that. I don't want to hear any long speeches or any, thank yous or accolades or anything like that. I just wanted to come here, take just a quick moment. I know you have a lot on your agenda tonight, and say thank you. You do a great job. I appreciate it. The police department appreciates it, and you will be seeing much more of me. I'm not going far. I'll be in the city. You'll be seeing me around, and I just wanted to say again how grateful I am to all of you. So, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, but don't go away just yet. We have a video message for you.
Boy, oh dear.
The city manager wanted to be here for the last meeting with the chief, and the best we can do is have him here virtually. So he's prepared a few words for you.
I hope he doesn't make the same comments he made at the St. Patrick's Day breakfast when I was sitting in the back of the room.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Just email it to me tomorrow, will you?
I can. I'm sorry I can't be with you at your gala event in the mayor's reception room. Wishing you the best as you leave the employment of the city and retire from your position as police superintendent. But I wanted to take this opportunity to wish you the best. You've done an outstanding job here as superintendent, and you've been a key part of the management team over the past several years. You've made your imprint on the community and certainly had a big role in making the Lowell Police Department what it is today, which is a true success story. You're respected by the community, you've done an outstanding job, and I want to wish you the best of luck as you move forward. I'm sure I'll be seeing you around and about, but again, thank you for all that you've done, and I'm going back to the warm climate now that I'm vacationing in, and I'll be thinking of you. Take care.
That's nice. That's nice.
Well, that was very nice. I know saw Councilor Elliott. He was, you were wondering about the event that the manager mentioned. On Friday afternoon, here in the mayor's reception room from 2 to 4, my wife bought some food, and you're all welcome to join us. Just a very casual, come in, say goodbye, and for a couple of hours I'll be there just to greet everybody as I depart. That'll be it. So if you want to come by, certainly I'd love to see you there. Okay? Thanks so much. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
And thank you, Chief. I think on behalf of the entire council, appreciate your service to the city. Anyone else? No.
He said no. I'm
Okay.
following his direction.
Aye. Okay.
Your Honor, can we bring our parking tickets Friday to the event? We bring our parking tickets?
That may be too late. All right, returning to the regular agenda. All right, we have a resolution to support House Bill 2945, double utility poles. In City Council, resolution. The City Council of the City of Lowell wishes to be recorded in support of House Bill 2945, an act relative to double utility poles. The City Council fully supports the pending House bill regarding double utility poles, which, among other measures, secures an enforceable commitment from pole owners to remove by January 1st, 2014, their existing backlog of double poles. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows: that we, the members of the City Council of the City of Lowell, wish to be recorded in support of House Bill 2945, an act relative to double poles. This resolution adopted by vote of the City Council of Lowell on the 26th day of March, 2013. Second reading by title and City Council resolution. The City Council of the City of Lowell wishes to be recorded in support of House Bill 2945, an act relative to double utility poles. Motion by Councilor Leahy, seconded by Councilor Noon, to adopt a resolution. Any discussion? Roll call.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Council Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
8 yeas.
It now being after 7 o'clock, we're going to the public hearing. Motion to waive the full reading by Councilor Mercer, seconded by Councilor Noon. All those in favor say aye, and opposed say nay. Reading by title and City Council. Ordinance. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, the code with respect to Chapter 266 entitled Vehicles and Traffic. Second reading by title and City Council. Ordinance, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Lowell, Massachusetts, the code with respect to Chapter 266 entitled Vehicles and Traffic. All those wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor is now closed. We now open it for anyone wishing to speak in opposition. In opposition. In opposition. That portion of the public hearing is closed. Wish of the body.
Yeah, move approval.
Move approval by Councilor Mercier, seconded by Councilor Elliott. Any discussion? Roll call.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Council Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendonça.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next, we have communication from the city manager, responses to city council motions and requests. Councilor Laurie.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. There is one motion I put in that came back, and that was one I put in some time ago. Request the city manager have discussions with the superintendent of schools regarding the possibility of combining summer programs. And it looks like in about 4 areas we'll be able to do it: the Morey, the Green Elms, the Butler, and the Stark Loza. And these sites will run from early in the morning, 8 o'clock till 2:30. I know Mr. Bellegarde's here. He's been involved with the talks. Would you like to say a few words? Sure.
Mr. Bellegarde?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the council. It's still to be determined, but we have met with the manager and we've met with the school department, and it appears that summer recreation 2013 is going to be probably double the size of it was last year. We're anticipating going from 122 participants to, I should say, workers, to about 225. It's going to cover the areas that Council Lawley mentioned. It's also going to pick up where some of the areas that we had last year that didn't do so well. We feel as though that it deserves another round, another shot, because of the fact last year's council, we really didn't get to these votes and get the money in until June. So the advertisement and the lead information to providing for like to give you an example, this year, as the permits go out, so isn't the information for the Healthy Summer Program. As we get into the nearing of the school year, the ending of the school year, we now have park partners in the school department which are going to work hand in hand with us to not only carry their summer school message, but all those children that go to summer school are also going to get a brochure from us talking about what's going to happen when they get out of summer school. So we think it's a good piece. We think it's very important that do his proper lead time, and I think you're going to see a big difference this year. I think we're really going to explode out there, particularly in some of the joint efforts where the schools and the parks are going to be doing a joint effort.
Thank you. And I want to thank Mr. Bellegarde for his work, the superintendent of the school, Ms. Franco, and her staff, and of course, the administration from the city manager's office. When I first came in office, and I put in a motion last year to expand these programs, this year we'll probably hire 225 high school children to work in these parks. I have a motion in for next week already, again, to ask the police department to develop a summer program. It was, again, we did that last year, and they trained the lifeguards. I believe they trained the lifeguards, the park instructors. They had the resource officers in the park, and I want to thank, I wish he was still here, Superintendent Kenny LaValle. We didn't have a major incident in our parks last year that I know of. So I think I'm very happy. I'm seeing the parks used again. I want to thank the council for their support on these items, and hopefully we'll hear from the police with the motion coming in. I know they're already working on it, but I want to thank everyone for their support on this.
Anyone else, any questions? Councilor Noon?
With the manager report, I'd like to thank the Assistant City Manager, Adam Backey, for report on the listing of inventory of all city-owned property. We spoke, before the hearing, before the council. I was hoping that come next meeting, or maybe meeting after that, we could get a breakdown of a property that are potential surplus, as well as a potential site for the development, so that we have a breakdown. I know the list that didn't have a breakdown of, whether it residential or property that can be, redeveloped into commercial and whatnot. So if we can get that breakdown in the next couple of weeks, it would be great. Thank you.
Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. I just want to speak on my motion for the request for the city manager to prepare a report concerning removal of trash from the downtown area. So we got a report from Ralph Snow. Basically, I have spoken to the manager about this, but in the report it talks about the number of barrels, and that we're under contract now to have them emptied, which is fine. The problem was the trash was accumulating around the barrels and under the barrels, which he's assured me has been taken care of, but it shouldn't get to the point where the garbage is accumulating around the barrels or underneath. We are going to do a semi-annual inventory of the barrels that go in the enclosures to make sure that they're not damaged. There's three or four main sites downtown where the barrels are really, they should have been replaced a long time ago. They're broken and the covers are gone. So I just would hope that it doesn't get to that point. If there's a barrel that should be replaced, it needs to be replaced, sooner than later. The other point for this report talked about the cost of the containers downtown, and I know that we have restrictions with the Historical Society, but this is something that we need to look into too. They're telling us that the cost of the containers are about $1,200. I know we need something durable, something that fits in, but maybe we could take a look at this. I know we have 3 different designs downtown, 2 basic designs, and 2 of the metal ones are different sizes. So I think that needs to be looked at. I think we need to work with the Historical Society to get containers that are cost effective. We really can't be, I don't know how we spend $1,200 a container, but that's what they're telling us they are. And the other thing that I mentioned to the manager is maybe we could take a look at where they're positioned. For example, up by Tower News, you have 4 or 5 containers up on that narrow stretch of road, maybe 100 feet. But on Central Street, we have like 2 containers for 3 times the length of the street. So maybe we could, with this report, we could also kind of just take a look at where the barrels are positioned, where they're needed. If we have an area that has too many barrels, maybe we could spread them out a little bit more to contain the trash. And also work with the businesses downtown and ask them their opinion. Do you want a barrel here? And ask them to do their part and help us keep the city streets clean. If we provide the barrels, if there's something out front, together we'll keep the sidewalks clean and put the trash in the barrels instead of having it on the road. So I appreciate the report. I just do want to make sure that we have follow-up to it and that containers are replaced as needed. The semi-annual check is good. And I think we should take a look at the cost of these barrels and see if there's an alternative that we can come up with. Thank you.
Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I have 2 items or responses to 2 motions. One was from you, Mr. Bakey, regarding the traffic measures on a motion I filed in 5th and Mount Grove Street. And I appreciate that analysis was done, a comprehensive look was done. There's a couple of recommendations, some of them more expensive that certainly don't seem like it's practical, but is the intent of this to remove all the 4-way stop signs? Well, that's what it says, to remove all of them in the neighborhood, and then reconfigure all of those streets so they alternate between stop signs every other street that's not a feeder street.
Mr. Bacon.
The traffic engineer took a look at the area, and he was looking at it from the perspective, which I believe was the will of the council, to see if there was a way to cost-effectively provide some additional traffic calming in that area. So his initial look, just if you look at it on a map, you see it's a pretty regular grid, and the fairly conventional low-cost way of creating traffic calming on a grid of streets is to install 2-way stops at every intersection, but alternate them so that the east-west streets at one block have the actual stop control, and the north-south streets have it at the next block. So you basically create a situation where there is no easy and quick, and therefore perhaps speedy through movement. Unfortunately, as he actually went out in the field and reviewed the conditions out in the field, he came back and felt that that was not an appropriate action in this particular area for 2 reasons. One, there is very definitely a hierarchy to the design of the streets that's reflected and is reflected in the way people behave on them. the, I guess it's north-south streets, as opposed to the east-west numbered avenues, tend to be a lot smaller, and there's also a hill, which causes you to naturally want to stop if you're going up the hill to be sure you don't get a chance to look before you go. And if you're going down the hill, you want people to stop so they don't accelerate too much across the oncoming traffic. Whereas the avenues tend to be wider and tend to be easier to travel on as collector streets, and they're actually laid out in a way that most people their natural behavior would be to utilize them as collector streets. And Eric felt that if you install the two-way stop signs at every other intersection, what would likely happen is a lot of confusion on the part of motorists, particularly on the avenues where in many cases they're quite wide, particularly 4th Avenue, difficult to see, and if they're not logical to expect, an awful lot of those stop signs are going to be run. And as a result, you're very likely going to cause accidents. So he came back basically recommending that, unfortunately, that typically cost-effective way of doing traffic calming, he doesn't feel would work well in this area or be safe. He thinks it would actually increase accidents. So his ultimate recommendation, just from a pure engineering perspective, was that we should actually eliminate the couple of 4-way stops that have been added at sort of irregular locations in the area, so everything is equal and consistent, and the system behaves sort of as designed. I think he recognizes that there may be compelling reason why the council enacted the 4-way stops that they did, and so his sort of second recommendation is that we're probably best off leaving it the way it is and not making changes. He did say what would be effective in terms of traffic calming would be to make physical interventions to neck down intersections and narrow roadways and make them, basically less comfortable to drive quickly on. But that's a fairly expensive proposition. He said it's possible you could do some work with painting pavement markings that would have somewhat the same effect, but there would be an ongoing maintenance requirement to keep them up every year. So that's what he has laid out. He did also observe that the actual average speeds on the streets generally are consistent with the speed limits, so there is more, in his analysis, there is more of a perception of a speeding problem than a reality of a speeding problem in the neighborhood at this point. But nonetheless, I guess these are the overall recommendations that he's making, and obviously it's sort of up for discussion at this point, because I believe the original motion was seeking some change, and ultimately he's struggling to find a change that's both cost-effective and effective.
Well, I do have, I understand some of it, but, those feeder streets, the avenues are, let's face it, there are more distractions with people driving now, and they find the path of least resistance, and many of these streets, people cut through for a variety of reasons, and I guess the concern is, doing nothing, and I think we're talking about, or are you talking about removing some intersections like at Mount Grove and, I understand the 4th Ave one, because that, 2 of those were put there when the church was there, and it was active, and it was a big area, but, there are some other 4-ways that I can recall that have been brought here in sort of the northern section of that particular area. Is the intent to take, I heard you say you're going to leave those there that are in place, but it is the avenues that are, you pick up speed from University and you're going to Mammoth Road, and maybe they're going within the speed limit, but anybody knows when you're on the side of the street standing still, it seems a lot faster than it truly is. There's no plan to make those north-south streets stop signs at any other. I thought that was a pretty good idea. Is there that much traffic that's going to restrict the flow in that neighborhood? I just happen to think people that live in that neighborhood, they know the traffic patterns, and they see the speeding, and there's kids everywhere. It's a nice neighborhood, and anything that we can do to calm the traffic in that area, short of what is there now, would be an improvement.
I don't disagree with you, Counselor, that, that is a location where traffic calming measures would be valuable. I think the challenge that we have is that, as the transportation engineer is pointing out, the measures that would also be effective are expensive. And so it's ultimately going to be it would have to be, and there's not really any present appropriation to do that work. So it really is a question of how crucial is the issue versus the cost that would be associated with it. And if it is if it is a high priority of the council, then obviously there needs to be an effort to identify the funding that would go with it. I think the transportation engineer's own analysis is that while I think he agrees with you as well that it would be in an ideal world desirable to do some additional calming, particularly on the avenues, he doesn't feel that the cost benefit ultimately justifies it in this particular case.
Right. The only thing that bothers me in here is this is a sentence that because speeding is only a perceived problem rather than an actual occurrence. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it all whatsoever, but, I'll give you a call and maybe we can talk a little bit further about, what can be done to
Sure.
take some of these recommendations and put some in place. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I have one more communication.
Why don't you continue then?
Okay, so we got a response back on the taxi cab issue that I brought up, and I appreciate that this going to gather some information, and my understanding from the motion was that there was going to be a meeting, and is that your understanding, Henry? Mr. Marchand, I'm sorry.
The meeting was held last Wednesday.
You had an internal meeting?
Internal meeting with law, police, and two people from police that do the inspections, do the licenses for taxi cabs. So we're following up with that, getting the information, and we'll develop a report and a follow-up response, and then from there for further discussion by the council.
Okay, so, but this says there may not, depending upon what the council says, my understanding is that the information was going to be collected and there was going to be a meeting held.
Well, the meeting was held to gather the information from from police and law in terms of the,
Okay, so
what
isn't
the
there
ordinance says.
Okay, I'm sorry. Isn't the taxi cab and livery commission going to hold a meeting?
We could certainly hold a meeting on that as well, and determine once we get some facts internally first, so we can have something to present.
Okay.
In terms of what are the differences in taxi and livery. I think Councilor Kennedy had asked about that, and just put that in the report, and we'll have that within a week or two.
And that report's coming back to here, and then it's going to go to the taxi cab commission?
Right,
Or-
if that's the
or
wish of the
there is a
council, we can
meeting?
do it that way. We can proceed a motion by council, so we'd return to the council with that.
Okay. So is there another vacancy on the commission?
There is.
Okay.
There's one holdover that we have a vacancy there.
And he's not interested in serving again?
Doesn't appear to, no.
Right. Well, he told me he wasn't. So are we looking for somebody?
We are. There's, what we've been doing is emailing information on invitation, basically, for folks to consider joining a commission. For all of the openings, there has been flyers that have been sent to all the neighborhood groups. It's been put up on the manager's blog, and there's been dissemination of information on that, requesting people and listing those openings that are out there.
Okay.
And
Are we looking at putting an ad in the newspaper? How come we haven't gone that route? How expensive, do we know how expensive it is to put
I don't know that.
an ad on what boards and commissions are available?
No.
Nobody knows? Can somebody find that out? I understand we're doing blogs, but a lot of people just might not even look at blogs. I know I don't. All right, so can we just get a cost on a small ad if we were going to put it in?
If it's cost effective, would you rather we just run it, or would you like to know the cost first?
Well, I think it'd be good to know the cost. I just think getting people involved, and if they see it, it'd be interesting to know what the cost is. Thank you.
Councilor Ori.
Thank you. A question for Mr. Bakey, a couple of weeks ago, I was at a neighborhood meeting, actually with Councilor Mendonça at the Jam Plan, and just following up on with the trash removal. I believe there was an issue with the design down on Jackson Street for barrels with the removal, and not a bad thing. 5 years ago, there was nothing down on Jackson Street. Trash seems to be a byproduct of success, and your department's had quite a bit of it in that department, down in that area. Do you know anything about that, or if there's been any improvements planned?
Yes, I believe the incident you're referring to were the barrels that were initially installed along the Hamilton Canal walkway.
Right.
Parallel to Jackson Street. There was what fairly quickly became a problem, and a very consistent problem, of household trash being disposed of in those barrels. They were not really providing much of a public service. They were seemingly being a place where people wanted to avoid paying for their household trash disposal, and were putting them in there. So they were filling almost as soon as they were emptied. And simultaneously, there was I think a misunderstanding among the city, the national park, and Trinity Financial about who would be responsible if those barrels were installed with maintaining them and emptying them. And as it became something that was needed on a very regular basis because of, again, the frankly inappropriate disposal of household trash in them, ultimately the decision was reached that, at least for the short term, they would just be removed so that they were not an attractive nuisance for, basically, again, the issue of household trash disposal. We have, since that time, there have been a couple of individuals who've raised some questions about whether there's a way to reintroduce some trash receptacles in the neighborhood for actual sort of pedestrian use, I suppose, not household use. We can take a look at that. If we do, it would probably not be down on the walkway, but it would have to be up on the street so that it could be something that would be more readily handled under the DPW contract. But at this point, we don't have any definitive recommendations on that.
Thank you. Again, I appreciate your remarks, and as I said, 5 years ago, there was nothing down there, so it's due to the success of the area, and your department plays a large role on that. Thank you.
Councilor Nunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the report from the managers, is also a while back I filed a motion to have a number of estimated retirement from the firefighter and the police department. The report, according to the report, 75 police officers are estimated to be eligible to retire within the next 5 years, and approximately between 25 to 30 a member of firefighter will be retired in the next 5 years. I was hope that the city, through the managers, look to our futures firefighter in the police department recruited from the city, and maybe diversify that recruitment. I know that a number of highly qualified young men and women are ready to doing this task, should they given an opportunity to do so. And I know that also recently the Lowell Police Department with the state police have a workshop on the civil service exam, so to speak, how to prepare for it in the community, in one of the Asian community, the CMAA. So I like to see more of that happening, and I like to see that the city, going forward, again, with the future retirement of our workforce, in this case is the firefighter and police officers, that we need to look to diversify, from our city and our staffing. So I look forward to work with the administration in seeing that happen. Thank you.
Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. I just want to comment on one more answer here it was a motion put in by you, Vice Chair, for the acceptance of the, to accept the streets, unaccepted streets. And there's a report from DPW Commissioner Ralph Snow. I just asked if we could get a little more information on this report. It talks about the steps to accept the streets. It kind of gives us a timeline, but what I'd like to see is if they could highlight the streets that they anticipate over the first 2 years, which is about 18 streets, and then give us a cost breakdown of what it would cost if we added more help, because it's been a priority of this council in the past to get these streets accepted. And just to compare, it gives us an approximation of the extra money we would receive in Chapter 90, but I think to get these streets accepted has been a priority, and which leads into this council's priority of getting the streets paved in the city, because it's a big issue for all of us, and to pave more streets this year and next year is going to be a main priority, I would think. So if we could get a little bit more information on this report, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Just on that item, I was actually going to ask, because I have questions I want to ask the manager. I was going to ask that we delay action on that particular item, but we can certainly get your answers to your questions in the meantime. But as part of accepting this report, I'd like to delay action on that until the city manager returns.
Okay, sure.
If there's no objection from any council. Well, if Councilor Leahy
Sure,
will do that, Councilor Kennedy will second it. All right. So that'll be an amendment to accepting this communication. So unless there's any other questions, we have a motion to accept and place on file as amended, so we're holding back on that last report, by Councilor Mercier, seconded by Councilor Kennedy. All right, all those in favor of accepting the report and placing on file, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay, next we have a vote to execute amendment to an access license agreement, rate property at 1 and 9 Cayenne Streets. In City Council, vote authorizing the city manager to execute an amendment to access license agreement to Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid regarding property at 1 and 9 Cayenne Street, Lowell, for an oil and hazardous waste cleanup. The city of Lowell owns property at 1 Cayenne Street and 9 Cayenne Street, Lowell, and the properties executed an access license agreement with an effective date of January 13th, 2011, to provide access to the property located at 9 Cayenne Street and then the Cayenne Street right-of-way south of 15 Cayenne Street, and National Grid and/or its contractor shall perform additional work under the terms of the amendment and shall be responsible for all costs associated therewith and all of its obligations under the 2011 access license agreement. And the City Council must authorize the city manager to execute said amendment to the access license on behalf of the City of Lowell, be it voted by a 2/3 vote of the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows: that the City Council of the City of Lowell hereby authorize the city manager to execute on behalf of the City of Lowell an amendment to the access license agreement to Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid relative to providing additional scope of work at 9 Cayenne Street, Lowell. Be it further voted that the city manager is also hereby authorized on behalf of the City of Lowell to execute any other related documents pertaining to the subject matter of the above vote consistent therewith. Reading by title. In City Council, vote authorizing city manager to execute an amendment to the access license agreement to Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid regarding property at 1 and 9 Cayenne Street, Lowell for an oil and hazardous waste cleanup. Motion to approve by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Mercier. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie. Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Madonza.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Councilor Elliott.
Mr. Vice Chair, I was going to ask for suspension of rules to, and I know it's only one item away, but suspend the rules to bring up the appointment of Providencia de Leon to the Disability Commission. I'm not sure how long that next motion is going to take to endorse the comprehensive master plan.
Motion to take an item out of order
Yes.
by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Mercier. Councilor Kennedy.
If there's no objection, can we do both the appointments? There's one after another. We may as well do both of them.
Any objections? Seeing none, we'll be taking up both appointments under suspension of the rules. All those in favor of suspending the rules signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. It's suspended. So first is number 7, communication from city manager, appointment of Providencia de Leon to the Lowell Commission on Disability.
Move approval.
Move approval by Councilor Elliott, second by Councilor Mercier. Any discussion? Roll call.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Councilor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie. Yes. Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Madonza.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Mr. Vice Chair, I think she'd like to say a couple of words, if that's okay.
Certainly.
Okay. Thank you to Mr. Vice Chairman and the members of the City Council, and I'd like to thank Mr. Manager Bernie Lynch in his absence. I just wanted to say a couple words. I want to thank the other members of the Lowell Commission on Disabilities for giving me the opportunity to serve the city and the disabled community in this manner. I think that the group that we have, the Lowell Commission on Disabilities, is a wonderful group, and I think that we're doing a lot of good work, and we want to continue to do work in the city for people with disabilities, and I thank them for the opportunity to be part of it, because we do a lot of work to be able to advocate for persons with disabilities, but I think that one of our main focuses is to provide them with the information and the tools and the ability to be able to advocate for themselves, which is something that's very important, and we'd like to be able to continue to see people with disabilities come out into the community and serve. So I thank you.
And thank you for your willingness to serve. Next, communication from City Manager, reappointment of Michael Kiley, I hope I pronounced that correctly, to the Animal Advisory Committee.
Move approval.
Move approval by Councilor Kennedy, second by Councilor Laurie.
Excuse me.
Councilor Elliott.
Is this individual, he's from the MSPCA in Methuen, is that correct? Or is he a Lowell resident?
I actually am not aware whether he's a Lowell resident or not. I think he's being appointed in the context of his affiliation.
Do we know where he lives? Anybody?
Substitution, I'd like to move we delay action 1 week on this.
Substitute motion to delay action 1 week to get an answer to Councilor Elliott's question. Second by Councilor Mercier.
I'd just like to say...
Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I don't believe that he lives in Lowell, and I think he was put on this commission as part of his expertise. He works with the MSPCA Nevins Farm, which is in Methuen. but he's an outstanding individual that knows so much about many aspects of animals. So I supported him the last time. He's just being reappointed. He doesn't have to be here this evening because it's a reappointment, but I don't mind you delaying it. I know that we'd like to get people that live in Lowell, I understand that, but it's not probably required on this particular commission, and I know he's tremendously informative on animal matters.
Councilor Lowry.
Thank you. I'm trying to find the background to my papers now. I don't believe he's a resident of Lowell, and I concur with Councilor Mercia. I think he's being appointed as Mr. Beggy said, due to his affiliation. He's been on the board for 2 years or 4 or 5 years. I can't see why we wouldn't reappoint him. You know, I plan to vote in favor of the individual. He's been here for a couple of years, and from what I've understood, he's done a great job, so I'm going to support him.
Councilor Kennedy.
I agree with the previous speakers. I mean, it's probably not a problem, and it's certainly hard enough to get people to serve on these boards, and this is a specialized board, the Animal Advisory Committee, so, and if it's a reappointment, that's okay, but I think it's worth waiting a week to find out where he does live and what the manager's rationale is for appointing someone outside of the city, so that's all.
Councilor Nunn.
I do agree with Councilor Kennedy that is, and the previous speaker before as well, that I'm not questioned the individual credentials, and from the explanation, the assistant managers, Becky, indicated he was reappointed for the, basically for the affiliations. However, I don't see a harm of, you know, delayed action on this so that Councilor Elliott, you know, got the explanation that he needed. So, thank you.
Councilor Elliott.
Yeah, I just want to follow up. As part of the report or information, can we find out how many people on the commission are required by the ordinance, and of that number, I think it's 5, maybe it's more, how many people are from Lowell? I mean, because I know just the last appointment, the woman was from the Humane Society, which is good, but she was from Methuen, and it seems like this person's from the MSPCA, and they're from Methuen or somewhere else. So it'd be nice to know how many people from Lowell are on this commission and what is required by the ordinance. Thank you.
Councilor Kennedy.
I think it's good to find out the information that Councilor Elliott is asking for, but it seems to me that we went through this a couple of months ago, and that on this particular committee, there are people who sit in specialized seats, and I think it's open to interpretation the way the committee is established and worded as to whether or not they have to live in Lowell or not. I think the law office has taken the interpretation that everybody doesn't have to, which is different than mine, but this is not I think probably we're happy to get people to serve on the Animal Advisory Committee, maybe no matter where they come from.
City Solicitor.
Excuse me, just to follow up on that. There is some areas of that ordinance where I suppose another reading could take place. However, what I think is clear is that there are certain positions within the ordinance where the candidate is not required to be a city resident. And again, as people have spoken to the issue, it really boils down to having people that are available for certain expertise, and that those are the positions that they are filling, and that's not unlike any other certain other ordinances or boards and commissions that we have in the city, such as the historic board for one. But we can sort of provide the council with just sort of an update on that in writing and further explanation as to why that's the case.
On the motion to delay, All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Now back to the agenda. Item number 6. In City Council, vote endorsing the City of Lowell Master Plan and Sustainability Plan. After much research, technical analysis, community input, a comprehensive master plan and sustainability plan of the City of Lowell has been prepared. Be it voted by the City Council as follows: that the City Council of the City of Lowell hereby endorses the final comprehensive master plan and sustainability plan of the City of Lowell. Reading by title, in City Council, vote endorsing the City of Lowell Master Plan and Sustainability Plan. We have a motion by Councilor Laurie to accept, seconded by Councilor Noon. We have, before that, Mr. Baker, do you have any presentation on this?
We do. Thank you. We don't have a full PowerPoint like we did at the time when we brought the draft plan in, but I would like to just first off thank and congratulate all of the people in the community that have participated in this process. I think it was truly, over a couple of years, a truly inclusive process that reached out in ways that we haven't technically been able to do in the past for lack of technology. Reaching out in multiple languages and multiple forums, using digital tools as well as fairly conventional ones like a 800 household telephone survey, a number of public meetings and so forth, that culminated ultimately in a draft plan. But even at that point, in order to make sure that it really did reflect the consensus community vision, we made the draft plan available publicly, held a couple of additional meetings, and solicited comment online. And we spent quite a bit of effort working through incorporating the comments that we heard from this body as well as the public into the final version that is now before you, which I believe will provide, I think, a very positive vision for how the City of Lowell can take advantage of trends that exist out in the world today that bode well and favorably for communities like Lowell, provided we take certain actions to be on the right side of those trends to foster a sustainable economic development of the city, as well as environmental sustainability for the city and social sustainability and social inclusivity in the city. And I believe that this plan represents a very thoughtful set of actions that can be taken to ultimately implement that. But we obviously would welcome even the continued discussion of it this evening. As is required under Mass General Law, the Planning Board held a public hearing and voted in favor of the plan at their meeting last week. And although there is no statutory role that is required of the City Council, we obviously feel that it would be inappropriate for us to have a city master plan that does not enjoy the support of the City Council. And that's the reason we have it here before you this evening.
There is a registered speaker, so we'll start there. Mr. Clerk.
Richard Howe, Jr. Excuse me.
Thank you. My name is Richard P. Howe, Jr. I live at 130 Westview Road in Lowell, and I urge you to vote in favor of this plan. I wish to make 3 points. The first is as to the process. I participated personally in several of these public meetings. I was very impressed with the number of people who turned out for them. The final one I was at had 60 residents, and it was a mixture of people whose families have lived in the city for generations and people who have probably lived in the city for only months. It was also from different income spectrums, racial, ethnic groups. It was very inclusive. And as we went through the process, I could see that the comments we made were incorporated into the plan. So when it says that it's a shared vision of residents of the city, I think that is absolutely accurate. Second point is about the content of the plan. I think the plan does an excellent job of reaching back and taking the best of our history, but also blending it with future trends. This whole idea of sustainability, it's one of these words that it's hard to get your head around, But my understanding of it is we live in a rapidly changing world, and it's a question of how we as individuals and all of us as a city are going to endure moving into the future. And I think that the plan incorporates some of the most forward thinking in both the nation and internationally on sustainability and the trends of people moving from suburbia back to urban settings. And I would commend the authors for the content. And finally, I just want to make a comment about plans. Many organizations spend a great deal of time creating strategic plans, and then they promptly deposit them on bookshelves where they sit unopened, collecting dust. I'd urge you to use this as a tool on a week-by-week basis. The City of Lowell is a very complex organism. Every motion, every proposal has many collateral consequences, and I think by using this plan as a guide, everybody will be pulling in the same direction. Certainly, circumstances change, and but it's far better to change an existing plan than it is to make it up as you go along. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Howe. Council Laurie.
Thank you. I attended a few of the meetings, and I want to congratulate Mr. Bakey and the administration on the document. I'd personally like to thank the citizens who were involved. As Mr. Howe said, the document was molded around the remarks of the people who did come. So, in closing, I just want to say thank you to everyone who took part in it. I want to say congratulations to the staffs of the DPD, and I believe I saw other members of other departments taking part. It seemed to be a city-wide response. A lot of the city employees from different departments. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to be involved.
Council Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, at the time we received the draft plan, I think I was complimentary of the certainly the staff work that's gone into this, and I continue to share that view. But like Councilor Laurie, I want to thank the residents in particular who participated in this, because it's, you know, easy for us to kind of sit here and articulate a vision of what we think, but I think community participation in an effort like this is invaluable, and the fact that we had so much input, I think, it is helpful, and it speaks to the effort that the planning staff took to get that output and then to consider it seriously. So I think I take Mr. Howe's comments to heart. I appreciate his participation and his suggestions that we continue to use this. I mean, for me, in my time here, the main issue has always been sort of economic growth and economic sustainability, a healthy economy, particularly in light of what's happened in the country in the last few years. So to see that we have a plan to try and capitalize on our strengths, I think is only going to help us in the future. So I do appreciate the effort of everybody who's brought this to fruition, but like most good things that happen, this is not the end, it's the beginning. And so I will stand by and do what I can to help implement this.
Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to echo on what Councillor Martin spoke. I know that it's been a couple years in the planning, and I know that the Assistant City Manager, Mr. Becky, was serious about, you know, and his staff was serious about including everyone in the community. I know that not every word of the planning was translated, but I know that key issue in the master plan was translated, at least I know, into a couple of Asian language, and it was involved with the number of the Asian community in roundtable discussion. It's a variety of type of discussion. I know that as of recently, about a month or so ago, either at senior centers, there was translators there. So this is really a very positive and very inclusive, And yes, you can see it as a beginning of including and involving everyone in the community to be in making decision for our city. And I want to commend again Mr. Becky for this very detailed and comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Councilor Kennedy?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly, I'd just like to thank everybody who worked on the plan as well. I think that it's good for the city to have a master plan. I think it's one of the benefits is that it serves as a marketing tool, and I think comes into play when you're seeking grant money. I think it's always a benefit to have if you have a master plan in place. I think that's a plus in your favor. And so, just from that aspect alone, I think that this is good for the city.
We have a motion to approve. I think we're all set, right, Mr. Clerk?
Yep, we're all set, motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve already. So we need a roll call.
Counselor Mercia.
Did we get a second on that motion?
We had it when we
Yes.
started.
Counselor Laurie, seconded by Counselor Nguyen.
Okay. Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Counselor Nguyen.
Yes.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Counselor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Yes. Counselor Laurie.
Yes.
Counselor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Madonza.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next on the agenda, we have a transfer vote. In City Council, order to repair and service fences, gates, signposts, and to get the cemetery grounds, avenues, and garden areas ready for spring, Memorial Day weekend, and to hire temporary seasonal groundskeepers and provide overtime to prepare the parks and ball fields for opening day baseball, softball, and soccer. Ordered by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows, that the amount of $132,500 be transferred from various accounts, of which are set forth in Attachment A, to various accounts, all of which are set forth in Attachment A. Order recommended and introduced by Bernard F. Lynch, City Manager. Second reading by title. Vote in City Council. Order to transfer $132,500 to Parks and Cemetery Department from various accounts to repair and service fences, gates, signposts, and to get the cemetery grounds, avenues, and gardens areas ready for spring, Memorial Day weekend, and to hire temporary seasonal groundskeepers and provide overtime to prepare the parks and ball fields for opening day baseball, softball, and soccer.
Move to approve.
Move approval by, I heard voices.
Everybody.
Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Any discussion? Councilor Martin?
Thanks. I certainly support the transfer. I guess my question be directed to Mr. Moses is, why isn't, I mean, we usually have a similar transfer every year. Why couldn't it be accommodated in the budget? Is that because we rely on the cemetery fund, the sale of lot funds, or the perpetual care funds for these expenses?
Mr. Moses?
Actually, you're correct. These are reserves that have to be spent in this fashion. So we usually take funds from the account on an annual basis for specific events to improve the cemeteries for Memorial Day, for Veterans Day, their activities. Otherwise, the funds sit segregated and build up.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Leahy?
Thank you. I don't know who to direct this question to, but I had two questions. When it says temporary salaries account and temporary seasonal help, what does that mean? Are we hiring companies? Are we hiring individuals? Are we hiring individuals for 2 months, 3 months, 3 weeks?
Mr. Moses?
Those are all individuals.
And how do people find out about this? So if they're out of work now and they want to sign up to be temporary help, how do they know to apply?
Counselor, we use all the avenues of going through the newspapers. It is on our website. We're looking at approximately 20 people, and usually they're perennial people. They come back every year. So when you really look at what we have available, we're looking at about 8 positions, and what we do is we go downstairs to personnel, go into the folders, and actually we did that process today, and there were 35 candidates in the folders to be interviewed.
And I just have one other quick question. I know it's probably in here, but it doesn't specifically say. So when it says parks and everything and ball fields, I assume Colley Stadium's in there?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and do we know, if I could ask you a favor, do you reach out to, like, lacrosse is in there early? Do you reach out to them? I know you do it with the baseball programs, that they help out. Maybe we pick 1 or 2 Saturdays and everybody helps with a big cleanup. Can we make sure we reach out to the lacrosse, Lowell lacrosse, and if we can pick a day, maybe we could help in combination with you to get the stands cleaned up or whatever you need out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be great.
We're very fortunate that the various sports organizations have stepped up in the past, and I expect them to do that in the future. And it's more than just talent and manpower. They've donated their services. They've donated materials and supplies and materials that we can no longer afford to because of budget restraints. And we have a tremendous network out there of people that support us. So I will definitely take that along, and I wouldn't be surprised if they played a major role between now and the end of April in helping us out at Colley Stadium.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you guys did a great job out there last, I think it was last fall when we had the bad weather. We had some trees down, and you were right on top of it, and you got everything cleaned up and the fences, so that was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Elliott?
So, Mr. Bellegarde, most of the organizations are just doing their own fertilizing for the fields now, right? Or are they channeling the money through the city, or how is that working? Because I know that we're doing it, and we're happy to take care of that because we can and we should. So, what is the best way to handle it?
It could either be, a gift through the city council, through us, or in most cases, they end up coordinating efforts directly through my office, and they end up doing it themselves.
Okay, all right.
Which is a more expeditious way of doing it.
Right, okay. Very good, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we have a motion and roll call is needed. We need 6 votes. Roll call.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Councilor Nguyen. Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy.
Yes.
Councilor Laurie.
Yes.
Councilor Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Donza.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you.
And next, we have a communication from city manager notifying of his vacation and designating Adam Bakey to act on his behalf during the time and to amend. Okay, this is just the housekeeping. We should have taken it up last
Accept
week.
the communication, place on file.
All right, and we'll have this vote just as a housekeeping. In city council vote to appoint Adam Bakey, Assistant City Manager, Director of Department of Planning and Development in the City of Lowell as Acting City Manager from March 22nd, 2013 through March 31st, 2013. Be it voted by the City Council of the City of Lowell as follows, that the City Council of the City of Lowell pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 43, Section 103, hereby appoints Adam Bakey, Assistant City Manager, Director of the Department of Planning and Development in the City of Lowell as Acting City Manager for the period of March 22nd, 2013 through March 31st, 2013. Reading by title in City Council. Vote to appoint Adam Bakey, Assistant City Manager, Director of Planning and Development in the city of Lowell as acting city manager from March 22nd, 2013 through March 31st, 2013. Motion by Councilor Mercer, second by Councilor Laurie, to accept the vote and place the communication on file. Roll call.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Council Nguyen.
Yes.
Council Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Laurie.
Yes.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendoza.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next on the agenda, communication from city manager, request approval of out-of-state travel for one person and DPD. Motion.
Move approval.
Move approval by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Laurie. Roll call.
Council Mercia.
Yes.
Mayor Murphy. Council Nguyen.
Yes.
Council Elliott.
Yes.
Council Kennedy.
Yes.
Council Leahy.
Yes.
Council Laurie.
Yes.
Council Martin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendoza.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Any subcommittee reports or announcements? Seeing none, we'll move on to claims. There are 7 claims for property damage. Read and referred to Law Department and
So moved.
report and recommendation by Councilor Kennedy, seconded by Councilor Mercer.
Yes. I wanted
We're
to say-
taking up all 7 of them if there are no objections. Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. From time to time, when we receive these claims, without being specific, and I'm not going to talk about any one of the 7, but there is a particular one in there, I can clearly see the city's responsibility when people take a picture and point out a city flaw. And I would hope that this problem is corrected. So between the law department and the Henry, you probably got to look at all of these claims. There's one in particular where it's a blatant fault of the city, and I'm not getting into detail or saying which one of the 7, but it's good to know that the picture speaks 1,000 words, and if we have someone correct that situation, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Councilor Elliott.
I'd like to speak to one of the claims. I don't think it's the one Council Mercer is referring to, but this is it's actually make sure we're on the right one. It's for a request for, this is the next one, sorry.
We're taking up all the claims, so go
Now,
ahead.
this is a miscellaneous item.
All right, very
Thanks.
nice. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Next item, miscellaneous petitions. All right. From Dave Del Pozo, Instant Wireless and Instant Tax Service. Dan Chase, Colden Properties landlord, 286 West 6th Street, requests 2 15-minute parking spots between 286 and 288 West 6th Street. Motion to refer to traffic engineer by Councilor Leahy, seconded by Councilor Elliott. Any discussion? Councilor Elliott.
I don't have any objection to sending to the traffic engineer, but there's some allegations in there that there's an illegal car rental business going on. So could we look into that and see if it is in fact illegal, if they're not operating if they have the proper permits or proper zone? Do we know if that is? No, I don't expect you to know every zone in the city, Mr. Bakey, but it is a business zone. Is there certain areas of the city designated for car rental?
There are auto-related uses in the zoning table of use. My suspicion, if there is an issue, it's more likely either a licensure or a permitting issue, not a zoning issue, but we can certainly look into those allegations and see if it's
I understand this point, he wants to get some parking, but on the other hand, business is not operating in the proper area, that's another issue, so. if we could have the manager look into that too, that'd be great. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we have the motion to refer to traffic engineer. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. We're now at the motions. First motion by Council Leahy. Request city manager have the proper department prepare a report regarding business outreach programs for existing businesses, particularly in the downtown. Second by Council Kennedy. Council Leahy.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. What I'm looking for in this report is to know what we're doing for the downtown businesses, what type of outreach programs we have. Through my research, I do understand that we may have a person doing this, but I don't know if they fully staffed to get out there. What I'm hearing is maybe we're not in contact with businesses as much as we should be. And, you know, it doesn't have to be, I'm not looking for, you know, a full report on what we need to be doing. I just want to know that we're out there talking to businesses, listening to their concerns, to find out what we can do for them, but also what they can do for us. So just communication back and forth, and if we need to staff, if we need to put more staff on this, that should be in the report. And just, you know, basically, what are we doing for outreach in the downtown area? Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Next motion by Council Leahy. Request City Council review dumpster ordinance for reconsideration. Seconded by Council Mercier. Council Leahy.
Thank you. What I'm looking for here is I don't have a problem with the whole ordinance. There's one section where it was approved that the dumpsters must be enclosed on all four sides. So I've heard concerns, especially in the bad weather this year when we've had a lot of snow. There's a problem with just the front of the dumpsters where it's enclosed with a gate, and there's difficulties with the gates opening and closing, having the dumpsters emptied. So I would ask that be reviewed and get the recommendations from the inspectional department. And if it's something that we could do to help out businesses, it would be appreciated. Thank you.
Council Lowry.
Thank you. I had received a call from Dave Willett, one of our health inspectors, earlier in the week. Actually, I was going to put the same motion in. Councilor Leahy had it in. And I talked to Dave as late as today. It is causing a problem, especially in the wintertime. They can't close the gates. There's snow. People are throwing the garbage. And Dave, I talked to Dave today. I believe the building inspector of the building, the head of the building, has concurred that we really don't need four. So, you know, if we could have a report, as Councilor Leahy said, but it's my knowledge right now verbally from the health inspector, Dave Willett, he's for it, and the inspectional services, the head of inspectional services will also be for it. So.
This is a public health ordinance. Could we refer this to one of our subcommittees? I forget which one would be appropriate. Public safety, or I'm not sure which one has the health function.
Well, I mean, the motion was
Councilor
just to
Martin?
get a staff recommendation, right? I mean,
Well, the motion is for city council to review.
Well, I didn't know how to word it. If everybody's in favor, there'd be a change to the ordinance, right, before the ordinance goes into effect, so I didn't know how that.
Well, do you want to refer it to the city manager then and get a report back?
Yes, that would.
Sure, with the recommendation of.
doesn't matter to me, but.
Amended motion.
But that's what he said.
All right, amend the motion by Council Martin, seconded by Council Leahy, to refer this to the city manager for a report, recommendation. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Next motion by Council Leahy. Request city manager provide a link to neighborhood group organizations through the city website. Seconded by Council Mercier. Council Leahy.
Thank you. All I'm looking for on this is if there's a way to add to the city website where you can find a link on the side, and if we can get the information from the city groups, so you can scroll down and link onto their website for information. Thank you.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I think this is an excellent motion. We actually, the information is actually on the city website, but it is completely understandable that one would have a hard time finding it. So we will work on making it a lot more prominent and visible for folks. We also should let the neighborhood groups know that those that have websites and have informed the city of their web address, there is actually a link under the community links page to their website as well, and that's something that we would welcome from other neighborhood organizations that aren't listed there at the moment.
Right, I found a couple there, but not all of them, so thank you.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yeah, just while we're on the subject, through you, Mr. Chairman, to the acting city manager. The city manager on a couple of occasions has referenced that the city administration is working on a new website to replace the existing website, and that seems to be taking a long time. And so is there progress being made on that, or is that something that we should anticipate will happen shortly, or where does that stand?
Mr. Baker?
Well, I'm not familiar, I can't give you a precise schedule, but I am aware that MIS has been working. Do you have more time? Sorry.
Yeah, I think the sitting manager is given a date to the city council prior. I think he's mentioned June 30th.
I don't remember a date. I remember
Okay,
him
I
saying
could
that
be-
he was working on it.
I could be
I
mistaken.
remember him mentioning it a couple of times, and in fact, he may have mentioned it in his last presentation.
Right.
But I don't remember a date, but it was, so is that the date when we should expect
I
something?
don't know, I couldn't be mistaken. I thought I remembered him mentioning a date. Could be wrong.
Okay. Could we find out how that's coming along and whether or not that's actually going to happen? It's been a long time, so thanks.
Councilor Elliott.
Yeah, Moran was the MIS guy. He was at a commission, disability commission. It had to be a couple of months ago, and he said it was to be rolled out soon. So that was, it might have been 3 months ago. So it'd be good to get an update.
Yeah, we will get an update for you.
All right. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. The next motion by Councilor Kennedy. Request city manager provide a report regarding the policies and availability of employee parking around City Hall and Arcan Drive. Seconded by Councilor Leahy. Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I noticed that in the packet, the city manager did include a small communication to the council regarding this issue, but this was an issue that I heard a lot about a week ago from people that were upset about the parking situation down on Arcan Drive and in and around City Hall. And in my regular job, I have an opportunity from time to time to visit different town halls and city halls around the Commonwealth, and so I'm aware that there are a lot of them that have parking adjacent to the building, free parking. You know, Haverhill City Hall has that, for instance, so does Littleton, so does Chelmsford has some parking, and so forth and so on. The amount of parking that we have here in Lowell is somewhat limited for employees. But I think that this might be an opportunity to take a look at what we need for parking. So what is how many employees do we have that require parking, and what is our capacity, and how are we going to handle that? And it seems to me that if we have a policy that everybody understands and that residents understand, that we'd be a lot better off rather than having an unspoken policy that assumes that employees can park on Arcan Drive at metered spaces without fear of getting a ticket, yet citizens who don't work for the city, if they park there, they should be getting a ticket. And I just think that what people want here is for something that's going to be consistent and that's going to be fair and equitable for everybody. And I'm not sure that there would be a lot of people that would be opposed to having parking available to city employees, but I think that that should be spelled out. And so if we're gonna have Arcan Drive be a place where there's going to be employee parking, then maybe we don't need the meters. Maybe we just need little signs saying employee parking only on both sides or whatever. But it seems to me that that's a much better way of doing it and addressing the problem, and that we should have a regular policy and plan in place rather than an unspoken rule that everybody doesn't understand and that makes people upset. And while we're on the subject of parking, I did get calls regarding this, but one of the calls that I got came from a citizen that parked over near the Registry of Motor Vehicles. And they had to go to the Registry of Motor Vehicles, and they went over there to park and went to the kiosk, and they attempted to use an American Express card. And they tried several times, and the American Express card didn't work. Now, I don't know if the kiosks take every card, or they just take Visa, or you know, they take everything but American Express, or what the deal is, but it should say that on the kiosk so that people who are attempting to use a kiosk don't become frustrated in trying to use their card over and over again. And I think that also over in the same area there were kiosks that just weren't taking anything. So it's you know, maybe we could look into that and get a report on that as well, on what the deal is over there on, that would be on Middlesex Street near the registry.
Motion. All those in favor of the motion signify by, Councilor Elliott.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on it, thank you. You know, I agree with a lot of the things Councilor Kennedy said. You know, I thought I heard the manager say at some point in time that it was a historical practice that's been going on for some 40 years. I can't remember that being the case. I used to work at City Hall, and I can't ever remember a time where people were allowed to park on the street in this particular area. I mean, these people want to be able to come to City Hall. They want to be able to go into City Hall, and they should be able to park at meters. That's why they're there. That's the premise behind parking meters. Turn over, let people come in, use the parking space, vacate it so somebody else can move in. So, you know, we're going to put these kiosks in. You know, just a short time ago, we voted to. Well, I didn't vote, but there was a vote to put more kiosks in, and if we're going to not enforce people parking there, then it's a waste of money. The city's losing revenue at these parking meters. That was, you know, one of the reasons to do this, you know, for businesses to be able to come in, have access to space, and people weren't parking there all day. So I just think it's an issue that if we're going to put meters there, then use them. And we should put meters there. I believe it. I believe people want to be able to come to City Hall and find a place to park. So, and I just want to make those comments, and thank you.
Councilor Laurie.
Thank you. In regards to some comments Councilor Kennedy made, and I know we're going to be expanding the kiosk program down on Appleton Street. And I was at a meeting with Councilor Mendonça with the JAM plan. They're having a problem on Appleton Street. People going into the registry and parking where they have the parking garage. It's a deterrent for the businesses in that area. And I can tell you from delivering mail downtown, I'll see people in parking spaces waiting for people to run in and out of different places, and they're not paying the meters, they're not paying the kiosk. They'll move the car if they're towed. But in regards to the business owners on Middlesex Street, it was, near the registry, they were hoping we could come up with a program, and I called the city managers, I was gonna put in a motion, and he said you basically had some ideas down in that area. And if we could bring those forward on how to free up parking for the business owners in that area. It's being taken up by people running into the registry, and the owners themselves just aren't seeing the turnover in parking that they would like. And that was gonna be a motion, but I think the manager told me a DPD might have some ideas on it, so I never put the motion in. Any response?
Mr. Baking?
Well, I think the general objective when the city invests in something like the early garage is to try to encourage the longer-term parking in the vicinity to take place in the garage, which then allows for the shorter-term customer parking to occur, at the convenience spaces on the street where it's beneficial to businesses as well as, frankly, the RMV functions very similarly to a business in some respects. It's, in terms of being a resource for customers, I guess, having the easy access parking. And in fact, one of the things that came out of the discussions with the community out there in that neighborhood when we were planning for the early garage was the idea of implementing what is essentially a metered parking lot under the roof of the building, inside the building, but before you go through the revenue control gates, so that the first, I think, 40 spaces in the building can function more like on-street metered spaces. So there's a fair amount available in the area. I know from my personal experience, going over to that area quite a bit over the last, several years, I've really never had a hard time finding a parking space within a block or two of my destination. There definitely are spots, like finding a parking space literally in front of the RMV at noon is not easy. Right. But a block or two further down the street, it's usually quite easy. I guess I'm not entirely sure the nature of the issue. If there is a specific location where there's a particular problem related to deliveries or people, overstaying what should be, high turnover customer parking and things like that, we can take a look at it on a case-by-case basis in terms of specific spots. But without a little more of that specificity, it's hard to say, what the solution to the specific problem is.
Right, and I was thinking, well, if we did it, let's put out signs, for business parking only, but if people aren't going to the businesses, then we're losing the revenue with the kiosks for people going to the registry. I don't think there's an easy answer, but as we move forward in that area, just if we could, any suggestions, any ideas to help the businesses?
Absolutely, we're certainly interested. I think, in fact, given where we were in that neighborhood 12, 15 years ago, and the conversations we were having then about that neighborhood, I am frankly thrilled that we're having a conversation about congestion and difficulty finding parking in that area. I think that's,
as I said earlier,
on
the Jackson Street issue, it's the success of the area that's causing the problems, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with success. And again, your department has played a large role in that, along with the administration. Thank you.
Councilor Kennedy.
Yeah, I just want to point out, my issue over there is not with congestion. It's with the utilization of it's making the kiosk be user-friendly. And, and I think if we're buying new kiosks for elsewhere in the city, that we have to pay attention to whether or not they're going to take credit cards, and if they're going to take credit cards, which credit cards are they going to take, and that should be posted on the kiosk so people know that, and it isn't, and it can be a frustrating thing, but that's a little bit different from.
I agree. That is a very different set of questions.
Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion's carried. Next motion by Councilor Mercier. Request city manager have proper department put a loading zone sign in front of 240 Jackson Street. Seconded by Councilor Noon. Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I know that Councilor Laurie has a similar motion too. Perhaps you want to read his and we could do them both together.
Sure. I think we talked to the same person, I'm sure.
His is a number
21.
Number 21, yeah, Council Laurie requests city manager have the proper department review installing one 30-minute parking space for residents only in front of 240 Jackson Street.
Well,
one's a loading zone sign.
yeah, and the reason why I brought that up is because I want to specify the difference here. We renovate and reinvent the mills to create beautiful, livable housing units, and we ask people to come on down. We welcome residents with open arms. We inform them that we can also get your car off the street, that by paying a discount rate of $48 a month, we can make that happen. And they hear us and they come. But we don't tell these newly unsuspecting tenants, especially the people on Jackson Street, that if you're bringing an abundance of items home and you find it very difficult to lug all your items to and from the parking garage, and you decide to park a few minutes in front of your building, that you will get hit with a $50 fine. And that's just what happened here. This motion is one that erases the attitude, too bad. With the solution, we can help. This motion is aimed at placing a loading zone sign in front of the building so that you can load your belongings into your housing unit for a short period of time and ultimately feel what the intent of you moving here in the first place was all about. If you noticed, I shied away from putting an elderly drop-off sign there because these people are not elderly. I did not ask for a residents-only sign because who knows who lives there. A person could pretend that they're the resident and live there and park there all day long, but a loading zone is the most advantageous, and I'm sticking with that sign. Thank you.
Council Laurie.
Probably talked to the same person on a different venue. The loading zone, from my one of the problems there is the school and now the hospital. So people are just parking there. A loading zone was my understanding anyone could park at, and you can't do anything. I went resident only, so only the residents. The problem is the question was brought to me was enforcement. How do we enforce it? And I said that's always the issue. But it was my understanding the loading zone would be for anybody. So if you live there and someone was at the hospital across the street, they can't be moved. So we're coming to the same conclusion from two different areas. What they want to do is just drop off their groceries, run upstairs, and then park in the parking garage. And I understand it, but that's why I went with resident only. Harder to enforce, but it would limit who could park there.
Mr. Baking.
Well, first of all, we very definitely appreciate the issue, and in general, when these mill properties have been converted, they have been converted from what was essentially vacant space at the time into new housing, and as a result, they've had to go through a process with the planning board and/or the zoning board. And one of the things that my staff has done, working very closely with the members of those boards, is identify this very issue and make sure that every one of those projects that's gone through that permitting process has a provision, ideally on-site, for a sort of 15-minute or the equivalent, essentially grocery drop-off spot for their residents who we know will be ultimately parking in the garages. This particular property is unusual in the fact that it was actually converted to apartments back in the 1980s. And when it was converted to condominiums, it was just a change of ownership, not a change of use, so it didn't go through that same permitting review. So there never was that discussion at that time. But that doesn't mean the issue isn't real with that property as well. And so we'll take a look and have both the traffic engineer and the urban renewal project manager for the area, see if they can come up with a good solution. One thing that is a little bit of a challenge in that location is the fact that the presence of the school demands that the street, the sort of what would be the on-street parallel parking on the building side has to be a fire lane. So we can't put it there. but there is ample parallel parking across the street. There actually is a short, essentially dead-end street in the back of the building. So we'll take a look at different options and see what makes the most sense, and we will arrange for something that provides for that grocery drop-off.
Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Through you to the acting city manager. Why do we not, I know it's impossible, we don't have it. I don't know why we don't have resident drop-off only. Elderly drop-off, resident drop-off, that would make more sense than anything else. I didn't want to actually put loading zone, but I talked to the traffic engineer, and this is what he suggested would have been the most advantageous, because I'm not a professional here. But the fact is, we have loading zone is a half an hour. I don't think people need a half an hour to unload their groceries. Elderly drop-off, resident drop-off, 15 minutes. I don't know why we don't have that.
Well, again, I think we understand we understand the objective, and we'll take a look at what the options are and come up with the best way to meet that objective. Thank you.
Councilor Lowry.
And you're right, they were looking for 30 minutes is what I put down. Ultimately, they'll get what they're looking for. But I want to thank Mr. Bakey's office for that.
All right, this will probably have to go through the traffic engineer for a change in our chapter 266. So can I combine these if there are no objections?
Absolutely.
With Councilor Mercer's motion?
Yes.
Ending in street and review installing a 30-minute parking space for residents only in front of 240 Jackson Street. All right, so now on the amended motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Both motions are carried essentially. Next motion by Councilor Lowry. Request city manager have proper department replace the veteran sign on Humphrey Street for Mr. Bonin.
Second, I know Mr. Bonin. He was a great veteran.
Second by Councilor Mercer. Councilor Lowry.
Thank you. Yeah, the sign was there for many years. I believe his first name was Lionel. I worked with his son for many years. And I think it was at the corner of 17th and Humphrey. And I know Assistant to the City Manager, Henry Marchian's already working on it and getting the sign prepared to go back out. Thank you, and thank you for your assistance.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion's carried. Next motion by Councilor Lowry. Request city manager find a suitable location in city for a bocce court and shuffleboard surface. Second by Councilor Leahy. Councilor Lowry.
Thank you. This came up last year, and actually for the shuffleboard service, that came out of a conversation at the senior center on Broadway Street. And I think the shuffleboard surface was really located on the North Common, which is great. They found an old handball court. As a matter of fact, it's still an old handball court. After the Greek Independence Day Parade, I took a walk over to the North Common, and it's still there. So that's one area we could really look at. And the other one was the bocce courts. I don't play bocce. I hear it's quite popular. And if we could just find a location for that. Originally, I think we talked about putting it in with the adult recreational facility, and I don't know where that's going to go. But, you know, the more I think about it, if we could find a small area at the North Common near the senior center and put them both together, but wherever would be fine. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carried. Next motion by Councilor Elliott. Request city manager bring any auditorium management contract to the LMA Board of Trustees for approval prior to any contract coming to the city council. Second by Councilor Kennedy. Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I filed the motion. Apparently we've had some discussion on this as well, but I was reading through the request for proposals, and considering the Board of Trustees have had zero input on this whole process, I was reading through section 5 of the RFP, and there's a specific reference to them, and not only one, but 2, 3, 4, a number of instances in the role that the trustees play, the decisions, what they will mean, the input. I mean, whether it's, you know, structural alterations to improvements, the trustees have to weigh in. You know, sub-licenses, other contracts entered into by the contractor, the trustees will be designated administrator of the facility. So before it comes to the city council, I thought it would be a prudent move to have that contract voted on by the trustees first and then come to the city council. I mean, the people down there that have been providing oversight for years and years know the ins and outs. They probably know better than we do what the best deal is, if you will, that the manager or his staff will bring forward. And I think it's always better to have more than, you know, one body look at such an important you know, contract that's going to come before the city council. So, you know, that's the intent of the motion. That's the reason why I filed it, considering the emphasis that is placed on the Board of Trustees in the RFP, and I would like to have them vote on it before it comes to the City Council for a vote.
Mr. Bacon?
Just like to basically say that the city administration agrees with you that the trustees need to have a role, and frankly, they have had a role and continue to have a role. They were involved in the RFP review process, two members of the trustees. I met with them yesterday at their meeting to discuss this matter, and we will be meeting with them at subsequent meetings as well, and we've communicated with them about that. The challenge is that because it is not yet a final document, that discussion has to take place in a forum that is not a public forum, so as not to weaken the city's position in negotiating with a party that isn't bound by open meeting laws. But we certainly do welcome the trustees' input and are indeed engaged with them.
Okay, no, thank you, I appreciate that. Is there outside counsel working on this, or is it the city's law department?
City's law department.
Law department, okay. Thank you.
Councilor Laurie?
Thank you. I understand the intent of the motion, and I agree 100% with it. I think the board should have input. Matter of fact, I sat here a couple of weeks ago and strongly suggested 2 should be reappointed, and I would confirm it with their experience. I think the experience in that board is vital. My question is, what would happen if they voted against it? Now, my understanding, under the charter, the city manager executes all negotiations, and we sign off. We approve them. What this is doing, and it's the only thing that I'm afraid of, it puts an organization between the manager and the city council. And my question is, what if they don't approve it?
Mr. Bacon?
They're the approving authority, not the board. Their input is extremely important. I've said that from day one. I think they should be part of the negotiations. I think their input should be given during the negotiations. The only question I had with this, what if they disapprove it? That's our responsibility, and it's the manager who negotiates. Thank you.
I believe you're correct on that, although I'll defer to the solicitor to confirm.
But I understand the intent of the motion completely, and I agree with the motion. So where do we place it?
Madam Solicitor?
Well, in some ways, I hate to speculate as to the auditorium trustees voting against it. Hopefully, it's the intent that what's going to be coming before them is, in fact, a very favorable contract and one that they will fully support. And as Adam Becky had pointed out, the 2 of the members have been involved in this process all along.
Good.
And also, the ultimate process, the contract is coming before the council. Because of the length of the contract, it's a management contract, not a lease, and ultimately the contract would be approved by the manager as the
Again-
entity for the
Again,
city
to
that
my
would.
question, what happens if they disapprove it?
Well, again, it's what we're going through with the auditorium commission right now is working with them. There's going to be a meeting next week in executive session to walk them through the contract negotiations as they are at that time, and also to get further input from them. And there was in fact a meeting just yesterday where Adam Bakey had attended, and there was some initial discussion from the Board of Trustees to inquire as to what conditions and what terms are of most importance to them. So the intent of the city as we go through this process was really to involve them regardless of the legislation and whether they actually have a voting role in it.
Okay.
Councilor Martin.
Thank you. Does anybody know what past practice was? I think, this has come up at least twice before, I think, in my time here, but I just don't remember what the roles were.
Mr. Baker.
Well, I'm not sure exactly what the roles were prior to the votes, but it does appear that the most recent contract, which was an extension of the then existing contract, was approved by both the trustees and the city council.
Thank you.
Councilor Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this is an excellent motion. And as I've said before, or as I pointed out before, this contract that we're looking at is going to be a 5-year contract with a rollover provision or an extension provision for an additional 3 years. So the possibility exists that this contract is going to be for an 8-year period. It is the Auditorium Board of Trustees that is going to be dealing with the management company that comes in and works on the auditorium. I think it's very important that the Auditorium Board of Trustees approve and are able to work with the management company that is ultimately chosen. I also think this, and I had a motion on several weeks ago asking that essentially the same thing as what this motion does. And to me, having the Auditorium Board of Trustees as a trustee vote on this contract is different than having 2 members of the Board of Trustees serve on a committee that's weighted with people from the administration. It's just not the same thing, and it's not what I asked for in the previous motion, and it's not what's asked for in this motion. And finally, I think, one of the things that has to happen in order for this motion to be satisfied, in order for the Board of Trustees, the Auditorium Board of Trustees to be able to vote on this, is there has to be a whole Board of Trustees. And the city manager has appointed 3 members. One of those members has resigned. There are 2 other members that are holdover members. And I've been waiting and waiting for those appointments, and they haven't come forward. I've had an opportunity at different times to speak to each of those 2 holdover members, and it's my understanding from them that both of them are interested in being reappointed. And I think the city manager has also met with both of those members, and he's interested and has talked to them about their interest in being reappointed. But I don't understand why. I can understand with boards and commissions where we don't have a pool of people who are willing to serve. But in this instance, we have people who are willing to serve on those boards, and I don't understand why we have to have people in holdover positions for so long. This contract, the existing contract that we have with the auditorium, is going to run out June 30th. We're in March, so we have a little over 3 months left. There's only been 1 response to the RFP. It seems to me that it's taking a long time to look at that RFP, and I don't know why this council get it, but I will not vote for any contract for any management company until the Board of Trustees has looked at it and signed off on it. Now, that's just me, that's just one of the 9, but that is my position, and I think there's other councils that have made the same position publicly, or it's been in the paper before. I just think that that is an important thing, and that there's no reason why they can't vote on it. Now, to get back to it, we've got 3 months left. I'll be very disappointed if the manager waits until the very end, until, you know, the end of May or early June, when it's almost too late to repeat the RFP process, and then forces it upon this council at the very end when there's absolutely no need for it, when it could be actually before this council right now, and it isn't. And neither are the appointments. And I think that this is an important, this contract is important. The auditorium is important for the downtown. And, you know, everybody knows that. We've had that discussion before. And so you might bring that to the city manager when he gets back from his vacation, that we should move a little quicker on this issue than what we are, than the way we are.
Council Leahy.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I think this is a big contract for me, and I was looking for some advice from the Lowell Memorial Board of Trustees. So I also would like to make sure that the board is full while they look at the contract, and then they could give us a recommendation. So I like the motion. You know, I may not agree with their recommendation, but they're there and they're the ones that look over the auditorium, and I want their advice. So I would hope that the board is filled by the next meeting, and when this contract comes, that the appointments are either reappointed or new people, but you should have the full board there. That's what they're there for. Thank you.
Councilor Mercer.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I wholeheartedly support this motion as well. I don't want to be redundant, but I will repeat the fact that I do support this. I think that, as I say many times before, we have very important issues. They refer to the planning board. The planning board makes a report and recommendation and refers it back to us, which is very crucial in the city, and I always rely on their expertise. This is the same case to me. I don't know how to run an auditorium or what to look for, and this council can vote on something, but I think those are the people that have been there, that are familiar with it, and when they provide a recommendation, it's easy to understand where they're coming from, and I'm not supporting anything if their recommendation didn't come from the Board of Trustees. I'm going on record to say that I will not support anything if they didn't make a recommendation. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Last motion of the evening by Councilor Elliott. Request city manager provide an update on the process to bring on a new company to manage the auditorium. Seconded by Councilor Kennedy. Councilor Elliott.
I think Councilor Kennedy just, I share his concerns with the timing of the contract. This was advertised in January, and I know bids were due the 31st. I know two addendums were also placed out there, but I'm just concerned as well that this contract expires in June, and if there is not a negotiated deal that both parties can come to, you know, what does that do to the time process? And hopefully things will work out, and we will get a good deal out of, you know, out of this process. But if not, what does that do? And I don't want to see the process linger on too long, that, you know, a proposal is brought forward and it's either we accept it or we don't accept it, because there's essentially no time left to do that. So that was the intent of the motion. Can you give us an update, Mr. Bakey, as to where we are, or
Sure.
Mr. Bakey?
Sure.
As best as you can.
The city has had some discussions with the bidder that did submit a proposal, and I think I would characterize those discussions as fruitful. We have also, as was pointed out earlier, had a discussion with the Board of Trustees. I personally had a discussion with them yesterday, seeking their input in general terms on identifying key points and key issues. I think there's been a lot of talk of certain issues that are what is important in the management of the auditorium at a time where we can get that into the negotiations. We are again going to meet in executive session with the Board of Trustees next week to review in detail the proposed outline of an agreement, and based on the input we get from that, we'll probably have another round of conversations with the potential contractor, and I think it's everybody's hope that we'd be in a position where the administration would be bringing something up for votes in the very near term. I think it's not in, frankly, anybody's interest to wait until June. I think there's part of the sort of, while there tends to be a slower period in the summer for this type of a business, there is an important factor in this business that bookings take place well in advance. So now is the time to be thinking about bookings several months from now. So if we were to wait until June, that would only be really frankly hurting the facility. So I think everybody shares the council's, and we appreciate that the council seems to share the sense that it's important to move quickly on that, and I get the sense the trustees feel that way as well. So I think hopefully that will bode well. I can certainly speak to the experience that I've had over the past couple months working with the trustees to finalize a lease renewal with the MRT that the Board of Trustees voted unanimously to approve yesterday. And I guess I have full confidence that the same sort of collaborative relationship will yield a good result in this case as well.
Thank you.
Councilor Leahy.
Thank you. Are we all done with the last motion?
Not until we vote on it.
Oh, right, sorry. I had
So-
a question after that then.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. What's the topic,
Sure,
Councilor Leahy? It's not on the agenda.
Well, I thought it was. I have two vote motions in my packet for the contracts, and then I don't find them on this week's
Those are being
agenda.
delayed. They're not being taken up tonight. I think the manager pulled them in order to have them when he returns. Mr. Bakey?
All right.
Okay.
All right, well, they were on last week's agenda though, right?
Correct, but they were
then-
pulled from this week's agenda, and I'm sure we'll see them again probably next week when the manager returns.
All right, does that normally happen though because of the delay?
Yeah,
I just don't, this is my first time. Last week we got delayed with the snowstorm, and then they were here, and then I assumed they were back on, but,
Mr. Bakey?
okay.
Obviously, last week was unusual. Fortunately, it does not snow on Tuesdays terribly often. So with the manager's intent is that he would like to be at the meeting where those are discussed and voted on. And his intent was to have them at the meeting last week when he would have been here. When it was canceled, that was most of the items from that agenda he seemed to entrust me to handle. Obviously, that's above my pay grade. So that one is going to be brought forward next week on that agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Kennedy, on that topic, or?
Yeah, on that topic. I can understand all that, and certainly there isn't precedent for canceling the meeting, because I don't think that I don't remember a time when there was a meeting that was canceled. So it was special circumstances. But I think just from a procedural point of view, that once the agenda comes out, and if the meeting is canceled, that the item still should have remained on the agenda and just been put off or tabled for a week. But they shouldn't have been. It seems to me that once the agenda comes out, you shouldn't be able to just pull stuff off the agenda if it's postponed till the next week. Just for in the future, that doesn't seem correct to me.
All right, motion to adjourn
So
by
moved.
Councilor Kennedy, second by Councilor Martin. All those in favor say aye, any opposed say nay. Thank you. We stand adjourned.